This week, I'm dusting the clubs off and hitting the links in PGA 2K21.
Makes this putt. He'll walk away with the FedEx Cup and a monumental upset over Justin Thomas. But Mac's journey to get here wasn't easy. Right from the beginning, Mac brought his own style to the course. Now that's a bold choice, or maybe interesting is the right word here. Mac really puts in the work on and off the course. His Q School performance just gets the covers coming off the big dog.
This week, I got an awesome opportunity to check out the brand new PGA 2K21 from 2K Games. It's been a while since I've played a golf game, and it's been a while since I played a good golf game. And I actually really enjoy playing golf, and I do like golf video games. I find that they're very relaxing, chill to play, usually challenging enough to keep you involved and kind of, committed to continuing to play and getting better. But for me, jumping right into 2K21, it was kind of an interesting experience because everything's based around your created character. There's no pros to play as in this, so you're playing against the pros. You're creating your own character and you're kind of starting your own PGA career. And there's so many options when you first get going as far as what you can customize on your character. Every facial feature you could possibly think of. There's a ton of different clothing options, and then you get into your golf bag where you have a lot of customization options when it comes to your clubs as well. Not only can you pick what style of clubs you have, which clubs you have in your bag, which ones you don't, and you can customize the color of the shafts of the golf clubs. Like there's so many different things that kind of just make it unique. Like my guy's got a cowboy hat and glasses, and he's wearing my two favorite colors, orange and blue. So it's one of those things where it's just like it really gets you immersed immediately. You're committed now. You have this character and you want to jump into the PGA Tour, which kind of brings us to the first game mode that you kind of get introduced when you first jump into this, is your PGA career. And you have the choice to start your career kind of at the bottom of the ladder, not on the PGA Tour. You're playing, more pro-am style tournaments, and you have to work your way up the ladder to, get into the PGA. But you also have the option to jump straight into the PGA tournament. And that's what I chose to do because I really didn't want to work from the bottom. I wanted to show everybody that I'm the best, right? So I wanted to be right in there. But at the same time, working from the bottom isn't as, treacherous as it may seem. You don't have to win a ton of tournaments to get there. You have to place in the top 50 in your first couple tournaments, and you move up that ladder pretty quickly. But it is kind of nice to start, on a couple easier courses, and it's kind of a cool way to, launch your career a little bit if you want to have a little more backstory before you get to the PGA Tour. But when you get to the PGA Tour, things do change. You are now introduced to rivals, and these are people that are going to usually shoot around the same similar score that you at least have been shooting up to this point. And the idea is to basically outplay them by the end of each event. So there'll be categories as far as strokes, how many birdies, eagles, that kind of thing, where you're going to get basically a checkmark point. And depending on, you need to get up to 16 points to be able to beat that rival and move on. So it may take a couple of events, a few events, depending on how well you're golfing, to beat that rival. But as you do that, you gain experience, you gain in-game credit currency that allows you to buy clothing, it allows you to buy different clubs, access into society events, which we'll get into here shortly. But again, it really gets you into it. Before, I haven't even talked about how you swing the golf club yet. And that's what I'm saying. There's so many options here to cover before you even get into the base gameplay. But it still happens fairly quickly. So they kind of introduce this swing mechanic in this game where we use kind of 2 meters. We use a directional meter for forward and back because we use the right stick to swing the club. And there's a power meter on the bottom that basically, as soon as you start your backswing, that power meter starts sliding across. And once it gets to the specified zone for you to to hit the ball as clean as possible, that's when you start your approach on the swing to the ball. And everything comes into play. There's a little bit of vibration feedback to allow you to know what tempo you should be swinging the club at. And that takes a little bit of getting used to. It's definitely a little bit more difficult if it's not something you're used to playing as. If you're just used to the regular golf meter, tap A again, and then you can kind of let it go after you aim it. This one, it's a little more particular. You have to make sure that when you swing that stick back and forth, you're giving it as straight of a line as possible, because any sway off of that is actually going to send your ball possibly into some rough territory. And when I mean rough territory, it could be the fairway on the next hole. So there's a lot of things in this game to take into consideration when you first get in. But I found that the way they kind of set up the swing mechanics and give you a quick tutorial on how it all works really shows you how to dial that in. It didn't take long for me to start hitting, good straight shots. And it was just more or less when wind came into play and was more of a factor, I really had to figure out how to adjust that shot to make sure the ball lands where I want it to land. So it's a golf game that we haven't had in a long time, and it's laid out really, really well. And I think that's what's really going to take people and draw them in. So like in many golf games, the roster of courses that you get to choose from is a big deal. You want to make sure you have some of those iconic golf courses, and we definitely have a bunch of them in the playlist here, but I noticed there was a few kind of bigger ones missing, like, the Masters at Augusta and Pebble Beach, like some of those, AAA courses that everybody knows. When you hear the name, it's synonymous in the golf community. So I was surprised to see that we didn't have those here. We have a lot of great courses, don't get me wrong, and there's a ton of challenging courses out there, but at the same time, you want to have those big name courses because we're building up our PGA career. We're moving to the next level. We want to become the best, so you want to be able to play on those prime time holes and golf courses. And that it just kind of puts you more in the experience. Not to say that there maybe isn't going to be DLC in the future with different courses and more clubs and other things like that. We haven't heard anything in the works about that yet. It could have been a licensing issue. Maybe that's why they can't get some of those courses. But it would have been nice to see some of them in there. And sticking with the courses, there's actually a really awesome create a course feature in this game. And it was pretty simple jumping in. They kind of lay everything out for you. You get to pick a general difficulty of course that you're looking for, and it kind of gives you a rough template of a course, and then you can kind of choose how much water you want, how much foliage you want. You can adjust the sliders to kind of custom set up the different kind of course that you want to have. And you can make your fairways wide, super skinny, and it's actually was laid out really, really well, because these are kind of course creators. Things like this can tend to get a little overwhelming at times, because there's usually a lot of mechanics involved with how it's all laid out, but they seem to do a pretty good way of kind of simplifying this a little bit, but also giving you enough customization to allow to make courses that are going to be different from other people. And that's also really cool, is once you publish your course or finish it and then publish the course, you can actually find it in a community of courses that other people have made. You can see trending courses that a lot of people happen to be playing and enjoying, or you can just make a treacherous custom course and have your friends come in and play and have a tournament on that course. So it's really cool, because it gives you so many options to be able to share. And we know whenever you give the community, especially the gaming community, the opportunity to customize something in game, they'll usually go way over the top. And I can't wait to see some of the courses people come up with. Maybe people are going to make those courses that we don't have in the playlist. You know what I mean? So it's really nice to have this create a course feature when it's laid out so nicely. One of the last things I want to touch on here is the multiplayer side of PGA 2K21. We have our basic multiplayer. You can jump in with your friends in a private match, jump into a match, a public lobby match, and there's a bunch of different game styles. We have 2v2, we have 1v1 match play, there's best ball, scramble. There's so many different ways to play in this game, and you can set up your own custom game if you want and have people jump in and join, whether it be friends or just random people online, which I thought was really, really cool, because there's a lot of options just to jump in and play multiplayer. But then we also have PGA societies, and this is like online leagues. This is probably the easiest way to describe it, is this society is considered an online league. And we actually started one here with ITG, the ITG Golf League. We're all going to be playing in that, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And the idea is you can kind of create a community where we will continue, you can have events. So we're having a 15-week tournament where every week we're playing a new course and we're going head to head against each other, and there's credits you can win, there's experience you can win, so it's all worth something, and it's a ton of fun to be able to jump in with your friends. But the best part is there's a ton of societies out there already. 2K has their own society set up that you can jump right into, and other people are setting up their own societies that there will be an entry fee sometimes to get into some of these events. So make sure you save that in-game currency. You want to have some of it, because if you're looking to jump into the societies, some of them aren't free to get into, so you got to use the in-game currency that you get from just playing the game, which is nice, to pay for your entry. So that means, if you're paying to get in, that means if you're going to do well, you're going to get some money on the way out. So these societies kind of open it all up and allow people to get really custom with it. You could have a whole tournament of custom courses that you've made if you really want to do that. So the societies is a really nice feature in a game like this, because it's a game you're probably going to play a lot solo, but at the same time, it gives you a ton of options just to jump in and play with your friends, whether it just be a regular multiplayer mode or these new PGA societies.
What a shot!
Well, I've certainly had a great time finding fairways and shanking sand traps in PGA 2K21. It's definitely the golf game I've been looking to play for a long time. There's definitely some issues here when it comes into, like we said, we're maybe missing the ability to play as the pros, and we're missing a few courses. But overall, this is a polished game. It's done really, really well. It's laid out, I'm going to say, meticulously well, because everything's easy to find, especially when you have a bunch of different game modes. So honestly, it was so much fun playing this game and being able to experience playing it with my friends. Like, I'm out on the course having a good time. Maybe on those rainy days I can jump on PGA 2K21 instead of going out and playing golf and have that same experience. And honestly, when I'm out there, the course sounds, the graphics, everything makes me feel like I'm there. So that's what I'm looking for in a game like this, where I'm looking just to chill out and have a good time. So PGA 2K21 is getting an 8.5 from me. PGA 2K21 is a great golf simulator with lots of customization offerings. Course Builder and online societies were also a really nice touch. But it would have been nice to play as the pros though.